Okay, good morning, everyone, fans in microbiome space. Today we are going to have Ken talk to us about microbiome tools and everything that's going on. So take it away, Ken.
Good morning. It is 6 a.m. here in Idaho.
Morning, Ken.
Good morning. And so I wanted to talk about the what I call the Microbiome Labs Toolkit. And I first talked about this back in the 1st of January, before I started doing chemo and radiation treatment stuff. And so this is my first kind of presentation since that time. And I had a little statement that I wanted to read that I thought was kind of apropos for our.
Need my glasses.
I got mine right here. For our times, you know, all the controversy there's been around this quinine treatment and the combination with the Z-Pack and all that kind of stuff, and there was so much pushback from Big Pharma on an inexpensive, already available treatment that didn't involve having to have vaccines be mandatory and all this kind of junk that they're trying to push on us. So I wanted to read this really neat statement. It says, current medical science is founded upon a false premise, namely that disease is caused by an extraneous outside influences and that this affliction may be permanently cured or palliated by drugs. What hope is there for medical science to ever become a true science when the entire structure of medical knowledge is built around the idea that there is an entity called disease, which can be expelled when the right drug is found?
Mm-hmm.
No. And, you know, that really speaks to the whole functional medicine, holistic medicine, integrative medicine, things that you folks do out there, where, you know, like in the state of Texas, where the medical board pushes back so hard against physicians who use supplements in their practice and will actually cite them for medical ethics for using supplements in their practice. They're like, you can't sell a supplement out of your office. That's just unethical.
It's unethical not to, in our opinion.
So, you know, the neat thing about being part of the Microbiome Labs group is we have this really awesome toolkit of very targeted products, supplements, to treat gut health. And we know that so much of our diseases initiate in the gut. And so I wanted to go over that toolkit. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on each product, just kind of run down it. Because there's a lot of folks out there that just use Megaspore. And, you know, that's the flagship product for Microbiome Labs. It's a spore-based probiotic that actually colonizes in the gut, as opposed to the many types of probiotics that we were using for years prior to that are dead by the time they reach the small intestine and don't have the same effects. Microbiome Labs only brings products online that have research behind them. And that includes the Biome Effects stool testing kit. So, you know, wanted to start then, you know, as I mentioned there, with Megaspore. So this is, you know, the Megaspore biotic bottle. You know, there's 60 capsules in a bottle, and these are spores, 5 spores in a capsule, 5 species of spores in a capsule that will come out of spore form when they reach the small intestine, when they sense their environment is conducive to survival. So they'll know what antibiotics are there, if any. They through quorum sensing, know what other bacteria are present. They know what type of chemicals or antibiotics to produce on their own to get rid of pathogens and to rebalance the gut microbiome. And so it's very different from the other probiotics because it's strong. There is a reaction that occurs. There's a battle that goes on. And sometimes in the types of patients that we get to see, we see the very sensitive bunch. Those that we lovingly call canaries. They're very, very sensitive to every supplement that we introduce to them. You get a little sip here. And so we learned that we can't always start our clients on 2 capsules every day because of the potential reaction that their body can have. And so we learned to start at a half or 1 capsule every other day and titer them up to the full 2 capsules.
This is Ken's first probably extended talk.
Yeah.
So getting used to
using my voice full time. So sometimes even that titer process is too much, and we have to step them back to just 1 species of spore, and that is the HU58 strain of Bacillus subtilis. And we'll start them there. One of my very first clients was a elderly lady who had diverticulitis, and we had to do that with her. It started her on the megaspore, and in a couple of days she called me. She goes, "Dr. Ken, what are you trying to do to me? You've triggered this diverticulitis episode." So we stopped her for a week and restarted her on the HU58. And it literally took 6 months, slow titer, to bring her up to where she could do 2 megaspore. And she's never had another episode since. And that's been 4 years ago.
Isn't that confirming that, again, it's a dysbiosis issue? Otherwise,
Yes.
Why would megaspore and the spores have an effect?
That's exactly right. And so whatever condition that has damaged the gut wall that we're trying to repair, this toolkit does the job. We just have to use it right, just like any tool. And changing our protocols up, listening to the patients as we do, addressing their issues, they will eventually get healed. And I know they don't like us to use the word healed.
Well,
Right?
the body heals themselves. We just put the right tools in the amazing body that there is, and let it do the work.
So we've gone from a megaspore, normal, down to a single spore, HU58. And then we can actually go up to 2 spores with Saccharomyces boulardii in restore flora. And then graduate back up to the megaspore capsules for these sensitive patients. Restore flora is also used for patients who are on an antibiotic, who you do not want to get candida overgrowth, because the SAC-B suppresses that. The other nice thing about the HU58 strain, the Bacillus subtilis that's in those 3 supplements there, is it also takes out C. diff. And for those who've never used it on kids and babies and stuff, completely safe. Newborns, pregnant moms, nursing moms, completely safe to use. Of course, you use it in smaller amounts. So Microbiome Labs has a total gut restoration protocol that uses the megaspore, that uses the megapre, and uses the megamucosa. And of course, many of you know the megamucosa is on back order right now. as is the Restore Flora.
But we just heard yesterday, in about 3 weeks, it'll be back. So not long.
Yeah.
I didn't know Mega Mucosa was our second biggest seller. So
yeah. So we have 8 research studies that have been published now.
mm-hmm.
The most recent one was in the reduction of triglycerides using just Megaspore.
What was the percentage? 25, 30%. I mean, amazing.
Yes, 20% and then 45%
Better,
at 30.
can I say this? Better than pharmaceutical drugs?
Absolutely.
That makes sense if you're really sealing the gut.
So, and this was without doing any other lifestyle changes. And this was a double-blind, placebo-using type of clinical study that did this. And you should have gotten an email already from Microbiome Labs with that clinical study in there.
The one before that was about, improving or healing or helping the liver from acetaminophen damage.
Right, yes, yep.
And then the one before that was that it's better than rifaximin in IBS.
Yes.
And then the one before that is that the prebiotic increases the keystone strains by 80% after Megaspores jumpstarted them, increased by 20%. And before that, the HU58 in reducing IL-6 by 45% and TNF alpha by 40% and reducing ammonia. And then, of course, the Megaspore reducing the endotoxin by 60%.
And speaking of endotoxins and the lipopolysaccharides and the immune function of the body, the Mega IgG, hope many of you are familiar with that, because it's become a support for the immune system process during this COVID-19 viral episode. And this is a bovine serum-sourced IgG, not a colostrum IgG. So there's no concern with there being a dairy reaction.
We've been working with this product since 2007 when I helped introduce it into the functional market with another company. So it's been around a long time. We've got a lot of experience with it.
And in your protocols, when you're dealing with patients who are having a lot of die-off, your SIBO patients, your Candida patients, when you're rebalancing that microbiome and there's a whole lot of die-off, a lot of LPS production, this Mega IgG is going to be a saving grace because it binds the toxins and will reduce the potential Herxheimer reactions that your patients can experience. The ones that say, oh, I'm having gas, I'm bloating, and all that stuff. This IgG will work with that. And it actually, in the studies that with the previous company, this IgG knocks zonulin off binding sites on the damaged gut wall to allow the gut wall to heal.
And in both, the way to test how safe a product is, they usually use a test market of HIV. And both the IgG 2000 and Megaspore have HIV studies that show it's just doing a healing capacity and it's not entering the system systemically and causing any problems.
Yeah. I guess probably the only concern was if your patient had a serious beef allergy, that Mega IgG could be a problem for them. So the other things that we have, for healing in the total gut restoration process, you have the Mega Prebiotic, which is called just Mega Pre now. And, that is to support the keystone strains that we're trying to bring up the numbers of in the gut. And then you have the Mega Mucosa, which is to stimulate the gall cells to produce more of the mucin 2 layers to seal that gut wall. In that process, the total gut restoration, to do it, takes 3 months. So when the patient says, how long do I have to do this? That's a minimum, 3 months. Sometimes if they've had a condition longer, how long have you had colitis? Well, 6 years. Okay, well, let's look at 6 months. So a month for every year that they've had a problem. One of our newer tools that have been added is Mega Omega. And this Omega, and I know everybody's used to omegas as a supplement, but what makes this different? So it has all 3 types of omegas in there, and it has the PRMs in there as well. So this is directed at healing the gut wall. So yet another tool in your kit for healing that gut wall.
PRM is for pre-resolving mediator, and that's the actual mechanism that reduces inflammation. So we're leading the edge on actually itemizing how much PRMs are in this fish oil and how much DPA, which is the other omega. And again, we'll see other companies starting to follow suit.
I mentioned SIBO earlier, and we all get patients who have issues with chronic diarrhea or constipation, who aren't digesting their food well. And so we have another tool called MegaGuard. MegaGuard stimulates bile production and bile release. It stimulates HCl production in the stomach, and it suppresses H. pylori. So we found that with SIBO patients, this has been very handy to help balance that microbiome in the small intestinal area by using this, by affecting bile and the digestive process. And we had one practitioner call who had a patient whose chronic diarrhea stopped after just 3 days of using the MegaGuard.
This woman had suffered for 6 years.
Yes.
So how amazing.
This also helps folks who have problems with estrogen dominance, because it affects, if you have the, what's the word,
Bile salts unconjugated.
Yeah, the unconjugation of the bile salts occurring, your estrogen metabolites increase.
Recycle.
And causes the estrogen dominance. So by fixing that, you help those patients there as well.
Yeah, bile has its own phase of detoxification now, phase 2.5.
2.5. Right? Dealing with candida, our tool is Mega Microbalance. This contains undecyclinic acid and B propolis. And the effects of this versus our previous types of supplements that we use, which would be comparable to mowing the grass but leaving the roots. Mega Microbalance pulls the roots. Literally, the hyphae are destroyed and their ability to grow. And it's the hyphae that actually penetrates the gut wall, causing damage. And so this Mega Microbalance pulls them out, even systemically in the body, to get rid of the yeast. So your patients who get acne and who have different rashes and things like that that break out on their skin, this is going to affect that.
Yeah, there's a whole list of manifestations of yeast. Some it'll manifest on the skin, some in thrush or dandruff or jock itch or vaginitis, or yeast is amazing. It goes for the weak link.
Speaking of vaginitis or bacterial vaginitis,
BV.
BV, the megaspore capsules can be inserted vaginally to combat that. I've had several patients doing that.
Well, there isn't an orifice that megaspore has not seen.
True. Yeah. Now, for those patients that we have who are gluten and gliadin sensitive, who are trying very hard to follow a gluten-free diet, but can be occasionally exposed to gluten-containing foods, we have another tool called Wheat Rescue. And this isn't so they can cheat. This is just to protect them from exposure of small amounts of gluten and gliadin. And so it has some bacillospores in there. It also has the special enzymes that break down the antigenic structure of the gluten and gliadin so that these patients don't have a reaction to it. One thing I like to mention about gluten-free diets, when we start a patient on a gluten-free diet, when we recommend it, we want to make sure that we're replacing the nutrients that they're losing by going on a gluten-free diet.
All the fortified foods.
Yes, because we could actually make them sicker because they lose iron, they lose calcium, and other things like that that are in these fortified foods.
Especially if they are not taking any other supplements or multiple vitamins and they're depending on that food.
Yeah, the doctor, what's his name?
O'Brien.
Yeah, Tom O'Brien, who formulated this, or helped formulate it with Quran. We go to lectures, been to some lectures with him, a room full of docs, and he's shaking his finger. He says, if you don't protect your patient when you put them on a gluten-free diet, he goes, shame on you. He's really funny. Some doctors didn't like to be so said that too, but anyway. The last tool is for our fur babies, and it's called Phytospore. I love that name, Phytospore. So this is a spore-based probiotic for dogs, and it really, really works. And the spores that are in this is the Bacillus subtilis, the Bacillus licheniformis, and then it has a special bacteria just for dogs, Pediococcus acidilactyle.
For their coat. I think
Yep.
the research shows it really helps, which is the main reason dogs end up going to the vet.
Yeah. So when they start losing hair and they're itching and they're chewing on their paws and that kind of stuff going on, this is going to work for them. It's not always about changing their diet. Sometimes you just got to fix their gut, just like you do with humans. The last tool is the Biome Effects test kit, which I don't have one handy here to show. This is...
I was pretending I had one. It's
Yeah,
out in the truck.
Just like the megaspore, it is retooling the gut repair industry, and in this case, the stool testing industry. The old methodology that everyone is used to is called 16S. You know, I can see Dr. Sam's there on the picture, and if you were to look at him and in the 16S technology to identify that this is him, you would see part of his nose, maybe his earlobe, part of his eyelashes, his cheek. I can't tell. Do you have a mustache or a...
He's on mute.
He's
Everyone's
on
on mute while we're doing it.
There he is.
But see, now you're doing whole sequencing. We can see the whole picture versus just little clues and guessing.
So that 16S technology just looks at 5 or 6 little portions of the bacterial genome and makes a guess as to what bacteria it really is, which is why you only have 30 to 50% accuracy in the old technology. That's the things we're used to, the GI maps and that kind of stuff. And even the normal ranges they use were what we used to call it when I worked in the lab, swag, the scientific wild ass guess. But the new technology, relatively new, is it's called shotgun whole genome sequencing, where it looks at all of Dr. Sam's face to say that this is Dr. Sam.
Identifying.
You know, it looks at the whole bacterial genome and identifies it with a capability down to the strain level of the bacteria. So this new methodology draws upon 600,000 plus profiles run during the Human Microbiome Genomic Project worldwide. That's where the normals are derived from. And the amount of information this test provides, you really have to study it because there's so many nuances there in it. And so what Microbiome Labs has done is made it available to get consults for your patient reports with the specialists at Microbiome Labs so that you fully understand it.
We just found out too, the founder of Cosmos ID, who is our partner with the BiomeFX kit, Rita Caldwell is going to be one of the speakers at the keynote symposium.
Oh, yes.
Which is in November of this year in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
So again, they're going to be pulling the best of the best. And so all of those microbiome fans that want to get in the weeds with the experts around the world, get your plans ready to go to Scottsdale in November.
Yeah, that is going to be awesome. Scottsdale's beautiful. The resort is beautiful. And, a little warm weather would be nice in November too. But all the folks that they're pulling together, they learned a lot from the keynote symposium last year, things to do, things not to do. And as long as we're allowed to congregate, we'll be in Scottsdale.
Yeah. Now I think they're expecting to have 300 people, a lot of them pre-registered from last year's.
Yeah.
So they actually have, like 500 people that said they're going to come. But
yeah.
If you're interested, definitely get your interest known so
yeah.
you can get on the wait list.
That's right. Yeah. So that is our Microbiome Labs toolkit. The things that you can have in your office to immediately give your patient when they're there, or if you're using full script. Or the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was patient direct. If you're not already set up with that, especially during this time where people are doing a lot of telemedicine, where the products can be drop shipped right to your patient, the patient direct is very handy. The basic profit margin is 30%. They have changed that a little bit where if you're doing a volume that is, say, 1,500 a month, it goes to 35%. And they send you a check every month for your commission.
And that's the highest in the industry that I've seen.
Yeah.
And you can access Patient Direct on your website when you're ordering. It's right on the left-hand side under Manage Your Account. And you upload a W-9, you indicate a code, you receive a link, you send that out. We also have a press kit that we're sending out. Our marketing department's really done a good job of giving you a letter that introduces this to your patient groups and helps identify the different products in the toolkit so that it's easy for you to put a protocol together to recommend, all digitally by
That's
email.
Right. Yeah. And Tracy and I are available to help with protocols, because that's really what we love to do. As she's a CCN, I was a med tech. We're both naturopaths. We've been using these products for 3 to 4 years now. So, let us help. If you run up against something strange or you're new with it, let us help you learn these products, help put the protocols together. And that way is our job as a consultant or a trainer. That's what gets our juices going, is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all I have.
Excellent. Well, so happy that Ken is doing better, feeling better. And yeah, we went through quite a situation, but we're on the other side. So all is good. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about before I open up the line for questions is would like to put together a summit, and we'd like to get feedback from you. And that would be, we'll be able to have some incentive. We'll work on getting some kind of maybe vouchers for a meal that you can support your local restaurant. And then we'll try to get a discount so that after the summit, after you've learned some new information, gone through some case studies, and there's products you want to try, then we would be able to offer maybe the trade show discount that we have when we're out. But the feedback we'd like to have is on speakers, so that we have time to invite them. So what I'm going to start to do next week is try to get some of these speakers so that you can listen to what they cover, listen to their style, see if you have any favorites. We've got some good talent in the company. Lacey does a great job. She's one of the specialists that when you have a BiomeFX report, before you talk to your patient, she goes over it with you, explains it so that you understand what you'll be able to talk to them about. We have others, that Allie, who can present on the difference in the mega omega and how important that product is. So if we invite these individuals for our breakfast club, you'll be able to see if that's something you want to know more about and recommend them as a speaker for the summit. Maybe we can do a round robin and get 3 different speakers to speak for 20 minutes and cover different topics. But I want to know from you before we start. I'd like to do something maybe toward the end of May, and we'd have to limit it, because if we're going to ask the company for X number of meal vouchers, we'd have to have a registration. How does that registration process work? How do we know for sure the person will participate since we purchased the voucher? So give us your feedback. We don't want to have to take credit cards and charge a holding receipt, for instance, in order to do that. So give us an idea of what would be interesting that you would participate. And I think that's all I have. I'm going to take
There's a couple of things in chat there.
Oh, okay. I'll read that way. Okay, unmute all. Here we go. Now I'll look at chat. Okay, and I'm looking at chat to see what. Yes, we're always recording this, and we will have it on YouTube, and I'll send it to the people that participated today. Have stayed well through this corona mess. I'm excited for them, and they're happy. Excellent. Thank you for that feedback. And any testimonials that you have on individual products, there is a certain form link that I can send to you, because this is very valued and prized by the company, and we love to get these testimonials. So I will try to circulate that so we can get some feedback, and especially if you've got some case studies. I think as when I was a practitioner, the summits and the meetings that went through individual cases, I appreciated the most, because I could immediately start thinking of who was in, what clients I was seeing, and different clues would make me think of different patients. So that's always the most valuable to me. So let me know if you have those case studies. we can write them up as testimonials, but then we can explore them as a summit topic. Okay, any other questions?
I see Dr. Fasolano's on there. Dr. Kevin.
Some people have still kept themselves mute. Yeah. And we understand most individuals are not seeing people in their practices, but are doing more telemedicine, drop shipping. We'd like to hear how that's going. You know, some practices have actually increased in their activity and the number of clients that they're seeing. I think those are the ones that were already exploring the technology of, you know, seeing people that way. Others have had to make a dramatic shift in their day-to-day practices. So, you know, let us know.
Oh, one thing I thought about yesterday, I realized this is going to happen. When the governors say, okay, everybody go back to work, y'all are going to get swamped. Your schedule's going to get full. And so I'll be prepared, you know, have your stock or whatever you need, your toolkit ready.
And they're talking about a rebound in the fall, that the summer, because of the weather, the heat, may keep it suppressed, but then there is the chance of a rebound in the fall. So, you know, try to, you know, be aware of that and ready, because people are going to be very interested in how do they improve their immune system, how do they learn about products that really help. The BiomeFX has its own indicator for resistance on how strong your microbiome is. So this is a great chance to get the education out. And let us help you. We can interview you and put it on your social media.
This is your immune support tool right here, Megaspore and IgG, that combination. And we have a template email for that. It explains that information for you too.
And if they can't start on the Megaspore, you've got 2 other options with the probiotic. And then, you know, they have to go right into the TGR to seal their gut. But that's a quick way to get them started.
All right. I believe that's it.
That's all, folks.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Super.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Go right ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is that for me?
Yes.
Oh, no. When he was speaking about, I don't remember his name.
Ken.
When he was speaking about the mega omega, yeah, PR something, you explained it, you called it pre-resolving
mediator.
Okay, I didn't hear the last word. I mean, oh, mediator. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And my method for testing fish oils is to bite into the capsule. Ken doesn't like that. He doesn't particularly like the fish flavor, but your tongue is very sensitive. It is a good instrument for telling you the quality of a fish oil. So it's a good fish oil.
Yeah. You can buy
So
it
I have a quick
fish oil.
question.
So what did you say you do?
What do I do?
He's the North Texas Microbiome Labs rep now. So we both left practice and are full-time working for Microbiome Labs.
Yeah. So I do Houston and Dallas.
No, that's not what I meant.
Oh.
How do you say, how do you test for a good
fish oil?
You know,
I think we lost connectivity there. To test the fish oil.
You said something about how you test?
Uh,
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
testing
I get
for
that.
rancidity.
I understand.
mhm.
You know, if the fish oils have oxidized,
Yeah. No.
you know, they taste really bad, they smell really bad. So that's what she's testing for. And a good fish oil, that shouldn't happen. Is that what you were asking?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And Dr. Kevin, you were trying to get a question?
He's muted.
Yes, in terms of the big bottle of Megaspore,
Yes.
do you have an update on whether or not we need to buy 12 of them in order to get the 15% discount? And then is it going to be cheaper to buy the big bottle versus 3 little ones?
I am so sorry. I was supposed to ask that question of them, and I did not.
It is cheaper to buy the 180 count bottle.
I didn't see that. I know that they're going to put the 180 count. They're coming up with a TGR kit where you buy all 3 products together, and they're going to use the 180 count instead of 3 bottles of Megaspore, and they're going to offer a discount on the kit. So that is coming out. So I don't know about the existing.
I like that.
Yeah. But I'm not sure about the existing 180 count. I will do that. I will remember to do that. I'll write it down right now.
But as far as the 15% discount, it's still you still have to buy 12 to get the 15% discount.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
We need to figure out how to get that in the mix and match.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Tracy, when did you say the Biome FX is eventually going to be available in Africa?
I'll try to get some
Biome
more.
FX is going to be available here in Africa.
Let me get a harder estimation on that from our international department. So I've written that down too. Get them in contact, because it's a matter of who are they going to use as a distributor. Let me find that out.
Dr. Sam, what's your lead time when you order product? How long does it take for it to get to you?
Takes about an average of 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
That's like Idaho.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, it takes a few days from you guys to my freight forwarders, who are they are in Houston, Texas, and then it takes them another, say, 10 days, 14 days to get to me. So that's how it works.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other updates? Oh, Biome FX turnaround time.
Yeah, because of the COVID, it's extended. So now it's 6 to 8 weeks instead of 4 to 6 weeks. So all laboratories are having a delay. But some labs that have phlebotomists aren't even drawing blood. So they're almost completely shut down. We're still going. It's just going to be a little slower.
So hopefully by the end of this month, everybody can get back to work and things will return to normal operations.
Hmm.
You know. All righty.
You think of a question later, you know how to get a hold of us?
Okay.
Yes.
That's okay. I just wanted to ask how your health is.
Well, I get better every day. Still have some mucus stuff in the throat, little soreness there. Putting weight back on. You know, I got down to 126 pounds. Now, last night I was at 147. So getting my weight back, where my face looks so thin to me. I still have some accoutrements that I'm looking forward to getting rid of pretty soon. This trach and a feeding tube. Neither one do I need any longer, so I'm ready for them to get gone.
It's a matter of finding a hospital that will do a non-essential surgery.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting my strength back, we go out and go for walks. We walked over to a neighbor's the other day, and she has a pretty steep front yard. That's about 50 yards. But I was out of breath when I got up to her door. And so that just really let me know kind of where I was at stamina-wise for that. But we got wood to split and all kind of wonderful ranch chores lined up for me to do.
Yeah, we're taking volunteers.
Yes, Dr. Kevin, I know you want to come to Idaho and help me split wood.
Yep, Idaho's a beautiful
I would love that.
in the summer. Get away from that Texas heat.
Yeah.
And that African heat. Okay.
Are you coastal, Dr. Sam?
Right now. Am I what?
Are you on a coast or are you inland?
I am. I hope I understand you, but my city is on a coast. Yeah, is that what you mean?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. So you get some ocean breeze to keep you
Yes.
from overheating.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes, we live on the coast. Yes. Yeah.
Super.
That's true. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and
Can I ask you a personal question? I don't know whether
Sure.
you don't mind if I ask this question.
I won't mind. Go ahead.
When you okay,